What is happening, Bairns? Welcome to In the KM, One South Standards point of view on all things navy blue. As always, I'm your host Ray. Today's video, we are here to talk about the upcoming visit of Airdrieonians / Clyde. But do you know what? I'm not going to do any of the petty shit. Let's just call them Airdrie.
I think I'll be the bigger man now and walk away. Walk away.
The visit to Airdrie on Saturday, where they will take us on again at the Falkirk Stadium for the third time on the bounce at home. A few things I want to talk about getting into today's video as well. One of the things as well I wanted to talk about was, for those of you that are not on Facebook, you won't be aware of this, I put a post up the other day, right, and it was about it was Andy Halliday when he scored against Rangers on Sunday, was it? He chose not to celebrate, right, and I put a post up about how you would feel if a player on your books didn't celebrate a goal if they'd scored it against a team that they used to play for or a team that they supported. And I'd used Cole Donaldson as an example because it's pretty well known he's a Jambo, he's a Hearts supporter, and I'd posed that to folk in the group, and I got roasted alive. I think that people were focusing just a wee bit too much on the Rangers side of things. Ken what? I've got it coming. I made no secret in my previous association, and people rightfully roasted me for it and said that it was just an excuse for me to talk about Rangers. There's loads of folk laugh reacting. Like, fine, I stuck my foot in it. It really wasn't what the post was actually about at its core. It was more about a conversation about how you feel about like players if they choose to celebrate or no. For me, I just seen a big outcry about it. I know it's nothing to do with Falkirk or that, but just something I wanted to share. That big outcry about nothing in my opinion, but it seems like a lot of folk don't agree with me on that, so that's fine. Entitled to opinions. I just know that like if we'd played Hearts, for example, well I know we did earlier in the season, but let's just say hypothetically we play them again and Cole Donaldson scores against them and he chooses not to celebrate because he's a Hearts supporter, I wouldn't be demanding he gets sacked or anything like that and all that. But again, no really all that fuss. I don't care. I ended up just deleting the post because it was just like I said, folk just going on about Rangers and that, and it really wasn't the point of the post anyway, so fine, forget about it. Other club news I saw, as well as I'm sure a lot of you did, that Caelan Adams has signed a new contract. Amazing news, delighted to hear that. He is probably our prize commodity at the moment, and you know that way sometimes you get a player come in and you just know within a few games that they're going places. This isn't their final destination. They're on to better things, and like that's no a slight against us. This boy is on his way to like playing international football. That's how highly I and a lot of yous also rate him as well. He's clearly one of the best players in this league. He stands out every time he's on the pitch. The boy's just got lightning pace. He can get by a player. He loves putting a cross in. He loves getting on the end of things as well. He's a fantastic, probably a generational talent, and it's no wonder that folk mention him in the same breath as Davy Weir, who, funnily enough, similar kind of trajectories as well, actually, where they both made their debuts, I think, about age 22 and started out as right backs. Caelan Adams, we've already seen as well that he can play at centre half. Who's to say he can't play there and do a job as well for a top team? Who knows? But aye, absolutely buzzing for him. It's long overdue. I mean, the contract he would have been on when he signed for us, I can't imagine he was on particularly big money. So that I would expect to see a bit of a wage bump as well, because look, we're still really early in the season, right? So this is probably premature talking about this kind of thing, but it's still worth having a conversation about. If we were to go up, sorry, hang on. Sorry, other beverages are available, by the way. If we are to go up, then there is a very real possibility that we won't be able to spend any money on our playing squad, because so much of it is going to be sequestered, there's a nice word there, it's going to be set aside for the pitch upgrade because of the change into grass, which that's a good segue into another conversation as well, because I see that there's some movement on that. There's possibly things are going to go to courts, and I know that that our board were really one of the main proponents of really trying to push this, because it was unfair. Regardless of anybody that's watching the video that isn't a fan of plastic pitches, or maybe supports another team or whatever, like, the fact of the matter is a vote was made that affected clubs that didn't even get a say in the matter. And it's all well and good. You like, if money's not an issue, of course we would rather play on grass. We're not saying like, oh, plastic's better. Of course it's no. You want to play on grass if it's possible. But the problem is that clubs that have plastic pitches have that because they can't afford the upkeep of the grass. So it's all well and good. You want to impose grass, that's absolutely fine. But where's the money meant to come from? It just kind of it stinks of that 10,000 seater stadium malarkey that affected this football club so badly 25 years ago. It comes off as in a similar vein. You want us to have a grass pitch, that's absolutely fine. But surely there should be a conversation for some sort of financial help for clubs to meet it, because the issue that you're asked, look, we're here to talk about the Airdrie match, right? This is just a bit of a sidebar here, but because I mentioned about the possibility of going up, and it's just been in my head, especially with the thing about Kilmarnock that came out earlier as well, that if we've got to keep all our money by for grass pitches, fine, but it means that we can't really spend anything on the team. The good news is, though, that I think that we do actually have a team that, if we go up, and I'm not saying we will, so calm down, John McAnally, I'm not saying we will go up, but if we do, I think that we've got a team that would be alright. Like, I'm not saying we would be pushing for European spots or anything like that, but I think that we would be good enough to hang in the league. I think that we would be able to survive with this group of players, which are very talented. I think that we could take on a few Prem teams and give them a good game as well, because we play some scintillating stuff at times. We really do. We've almost become accustomed to it, but some of the football we play is brilliant. Anyway, that's just a wee sidebar. I didn't really want to get in a big discussion about that. Let's talk about the visit of Airdrie on Saturday. So, how are things looking going into this particular game, you ask? Well, looking at it, actually just before we do that, let's have a wee reminder of how things panned out the last time that we played each other. So, let's have a wee look at this.
Sean Mackey, what a save from Johnson. Still alive, Dylan Tate tries to bend one, and it's a wonderful goal! Dylan Tate! Can you believe it? Lovely ball, Dylan Tate tries to play it through Sean Mackey. Sean Mackey finds the back of the net. A wonderfully worked goal, patient play from Falkirk. Dylan Tate slips in the fullback.
Oh, that Dylan Tate goal. It just gets better every time you see it. See that touch where he just sends the defender to the shops? Oh, it's gorgeous. But aye, that's what happened the last time we played Airdrie at their ground. And just bringing up, let's have a wee look at how Airdrie have been faring recently, and it ain't good. Oh no, it ain't good at all. I was actually on Pie and Bovril, and I was speaking to some of their supporters, and yeah, the mood ain't great in the camp at all. A lot of people are expecting a proper doing on Saturday. A lot of people saying that they would be happy if it even kept as low as 3-0, which, alright. But that gives me the fear a wee bit, because we go into a game where we are heavy favourites. They're expecting nothing. I don't know about any use, but this just has potential banana peel written all over it. Like, I don't want to be negative, but at the same time, I don't want to just say we're going to win all the time. And if I feel any kind of nerves or that, I want to voice them, because I want to give you my honest opinion. I don't want to just say everything everybody else thinks and be going along with what everybody else is saying about things. I just think that these are the kind of games where you see teams drop points, and I just think that if they come out and they play defensively and their game plan is to frustrate us and that, who knows? But I think that if we do get an early goal, I think that they could be in for another pumping, and that's just really how it's been going for them recently, to be honest. I mean, their most recent game was where they played Hamilton at Airdrie and lost 4-0. They were 3-0 down by no half time, but by the hour mark. They lost 1-0 to Wraith Rovers away before that, and then they lost 1-0 to Ayr at Airdrie the game before that. They've really not been making a habit of scoring goals at all. I mean, the last time that they scored was 4 games ago when they lost 2-1 to Partick Thistle, and then they hilariously lost 2-1, I should say, at home to East Kilbride. Funny that. Don't worry, Airdrie, we'll show you how it's done against them. So aye, they're really, really struggling. Actually, I do correct myself here. It shows us 2-1 on flash scores, but I'm forgetting I went to penalties. But aye, they only scored the one goal there. And yeah, before that, 1-1 draw again at home and against Dunfermline. So they're really no making a habit of scoring goals at all. That seems to be a really big problem for them. And when I was speaking with the Airdrie supporters, there seems to be a bit of conflict about how everybody's feeling about things. Folk are saying that they play out for the back too much and it's costing, but then other people are saying that they've not played like that for weeks. Other people as well saying that they want to stick with Rhys McCabe because of the hand he's been dealt and with all the injuries that they're coping with and all the key players that they lost in the summer as well. It's almost a sense of inevitability for a lot of their supporters that they've almost accepted at this point that they're going to go down, and that what's the point in changing the manager? It seems like the belief is that the manager isn't the problem, it's just the whole setup that's the issue, and that a lot of people would persist with Rhys McCabe. But it's easy to say that when you've got 12 games into the season. Realistically, there's still a chance they could turn it around, although they look absolutely shocking at the moment. I mean, even the game that we played at their patch, I thought they were really, really poor in that game. Way poorer than I was expecting, but it was earlier in the season. They've really just no kicked on at all. I mean, they've managed a single draw, that one against Dunfermline, who are not exactly in amazing form themselves, since we beat them. And they're no scoring goals at all. So, aye. It was a good wee interaction with the Airdrie supporters. Even if they did chuck in hopefully we can escape Grangemouth with a draw or whatever.
I think I'll be the bigger man now and walk away. Walk away.
And I was just like, Ken, what? I'm not going to bite. And then somebody else said something about Grangemouth, and I was like, fuck it. So, here, have some of this.
Are you one of these people that are frightened of wakening up inside a coffin after you've been buried? Don't worry, for only £100 a dig, Burniston Fire Services will dig you up every single day until you physically start to rot. Hear me? You still dead? Mate, here. You still dead, mate? Burniston Fire Services. Just in case.
Right, swiftly moving on. What do I think's going to happen then? As I said, that I do think that this has got potential banana peel written all over it. That's not to say that I don't think we're going to win, because I've got too much confidence and belief in these players. They just rarely let us down. Even when you think about the times where they maybe have let themselves down a wee bit, Wraith away and Steny away, that's it. And you think about how many times that they've turned up and they've delivered the goods. Do you know what? The best teams have off days every now and again. I'm absolutely fine with that. What would you think about that? Well, let me know in the comments below, because I'd love to know what everybody thinks. This is the main way I want to engage with supporters going forward, genuinely. So, aye. In terms of what I think is going to happen, again, if we get an early goal, I think that this could be a long afternoon for them. And that's the thing that I love about this team, is that we start games really, really fast. We always go for the jugular at the start of both halves. Speaking of which, by the way, I was talking about this earlier on Facebook as well. I am never going for a half-time pint at the Falkirk Stadium ever again, because you spend the whole half time waiting to get served, and it's like 2 minutes before the teams come back out, and you're standing there with a full pint, and you've got to absolutely neck it, which I don't like doing, because I think it's a waste of a pint, call me a square, whatever. So, see the amount of goals I have missed because I don't want to waste a pint, because we always score early into halves. I'm sick of it, troops. I'm sick of it. What can I do though? Like, I've just got to accept that either I need to leave early before half time, or just sack the pint altogether. And I don't want to do either of them, because we score goals late in the half, and we just score all the time. So what's the solution here? Let me know what you think I should do. But get what I mean? So I think that in terms of how the game will go, right, I think that we can pretty much predict the starting lineup, right? I said on the last video that Gary Oliver's starting to make the striker spot his own, and a couple of people laughed at me and were like, "Are you serious?" And don't be surprised, troops, when you see the team sheet on Saturday and Gary Oliver's still playing up top. We know what McGlynn's like at this point. He doesn't tend to throw folk back in unless their name is Aidan Nisbet. Like, people, if they're in a good vein of form, they sit on the bench. Just ask Leon McCann, ask Finn Yates. If somebody is performing well, they don't get bombed out the team. And Gary Oliver had a fantastic game against Morton. Like, the guy's taking some stick because of some of his positional play and where he's not been very effective, but come on, he does deserve to start the game against Airdrie. Imagine what that would do to his confidence if he plays his best performance in God knows how long, and he finds himself on the bench. Ross McKeever even said in a recent interview with the Herald that he knows that he's got a fight on his hands, and that he will have to get the number 9 shirt, so to speak, back off of Gary Oliver. And that's what you want. Like, this is what John McGlynn wants. He wants a team full of players that can all just come in, go out, and come in, go out, and it doesn't make the team any weaker. I would actually say that you can see the building blocks over the last few weeks where our game is evolving a wee bit. We're not just lumping long balls up and trying to see the striker hold the ball up and bring somebody else into play. Like I said on the last video, you're seeing a lot of people swapping positions and moving all over the place and pulling defenders left, right and centre. The teams that are near the bottom of the league will not be able to cope with that if we play that way and we move the ball about as quickly as that. Because, and again, I want to preface this by saying I am not comparing us to Celtic in any shape or form. But when you watch the way Celtic play, for example, that is what they do to teams in the Prem. Their movement and how they just don't give teams a moment to breathe. It's like what they say, it's relentless, and they just wear teams down. That is exactly what we done against Morton at championship level. That's what we are capable of doing. And like what Celtic do in the top league is we look to the bench. And who are we bringing on? We're bringing on Callum Morrison and Ross McKeever. You're defenders and you're already knackered, and that's the kind of firepower that we're bringing on. It's the exact same as when we were at Celtic Park, where we were holding on, we're doing all right, but then they're bringing on guys like Kuhn, who just annihilated us on the day. What a player he is, and that must be what it's like when we've got like some of the top end players actually know on the park. And you know that they're still going to come on. We've got a lot of options now, and it's going to be so interesting when everybody is back fit, because I genuinely don't know what John McGlynn's going to do. He's a fantastic manager, so I'm sure he will be able to juggle things and keep everybody happy, but it'll be interesting to see how he manages that. So, in terms of my prediction, I think that we'll win this. I'm going to go 3-0. I don't see where the goals are coming for Airdrie. That's not to say they will not score, but I just don't see where the goal comes from. And our defence is getting better week on week. Luke Graham, I mean, you run out of superlatives to talk about how good this boy is. I'm just so gutted that he's only on loan with us, because Dundee must be surely keeping an eye on him and marking his progress, and he might be on for bigger and better things as well. The great thing is, though, we're starting to get a reputation for being a team that you want to send youngsters on loan to. Not just any old youngsters like the old firm cast-offs that maybe don't really perform to that higher level because they've got an ego and things like that. But I mean, like, your talented youngsters, the ones that want to graft and work hard and become great players. Like, this is the destination. This is where players want to go on loan, surely. But I digress a wee bit. That's what my thoughts are on this game. I think that we will win. I just think that there's potential banana peel territory here. And in terms of the teams around us, I mean, just looking at the fixtures as well, Morton are playing Ayr at Capello on Friday night. So that might have already happened by the time some of you watch this, right enough. Interesting to see what happens there. And then Livingston are playing Hamilton at Aki's ground on Saturday. Now, Aki's are coming into a wee bit of form now. Since they lost to us, they've started to look up a wee bit. And let me just bring up the stats there. So they beat Morton 3-0, and then they beat Airdrie 4-0 as well, of course. I mean, that's 7 goals in the last 2 games. It's entirely possible that they could get something off of Livingston. This could end up being a very, very good weekend. So hopefully I'll see some of you at the game. I'll be travelling through from Ayrshire as always, and if I see any of you in the KM, be sure to say hello, because I'm approachable. I'm happy to chat with anybody. Always up for talking to folk and that. So hope you all enjoy the rest of your week and have an absolutely fantastic Saturday, and I hope your team wins. All the best, take care, and bye bye.